Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Once again, haven't done this in ages. Because, I don't know why, maybe at 1500 you don't find so many of them. But it is time, once again, to celebrate punishing dumbass openings. And this comes courtesy of Jay the Great. I love it when people give themselves like really, really pompous usernames like Grandmaster whatever, and then pull dumbass openings out on you. Anyway, without further ado, let's go in. So this is a 10-minute rapid game, 10+0 that I played this morning. We've got e4 and then f5. I don't even know what this is called, and chess.com's kind of goofy at the minute. I honestly don't know what this is. I cannot remember. Anyway, so I took the pawn. I think, something in me said, look, it's a free pawn. You can take it. And of course my opponent has, you never play f5. Never play f5 as black. Unless you know exactly what you're doing. And if you want to know exactly what to do, then you should buy my Freddy Krueger repertoire course, which is still less than half price for the next... How many days? 4 days. 3 or 4 days. So get that. So you do not play it on move 1. You do not play f5 on move 1. Anyway, so opponent now plays knight to f6. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy, he knows what he's doing. He's got an idea. So what should we do here? Right? Well, it's the opening. We should probably try and control the center with pawns and pieces. Right? We develop our knights and stuff like that. So knight f3. Right? Now I've already in my heart I've given up any idea of trying to defend my extra pawn. That is not the point. Oh, it's the Duras Gambit. Okay. Pretty appropriate, I would say. Just change the R to an M and it becomes the dumbass Gambit. Okay, we have d5 from black. I play d4. Obviously, I want to contest the center. Right? All good. He wins back the pawn. Okay. And I play bishop to d3, right? This is very common idea. You see this, London players will see this a lot. They play their bishop to f4. Black plays his dark squared bishop also to d6. And, very often in the London, the bishop will drop back to g3. So that if their bishop takes your bishop, you recapture with the h pawn and you've opened up the h file a little bit, okay? Here... I have the option of recapturing with the queen, which is fine by me. It's the same would happen in the London if they've got bishops like this in tension, right? If you take, they get free development of the queen. So white generally doesn't want to take here, which is why he drops the bishop back there. Or sometimes he'll just leave the bishop on f4. And it's okay, very often actually to capture with the e-pawn in the London. But this is not about the London. This is about this dumbass playing this dumbass opening. So let's get back to it. Now he moves the bishop for a second time. Okay. So I'm like, okay, well look, my knight's in a pin. Got it. Do I have to be worried? Now one way of responding to this pin, one way of breaking the pin in a way, because if you notice this knight's defended only by the queen and the g, yeah? And you don't want to move the queen because then he takes and g has to take back, and that gives you proper screwed up pawns on the king side. You don't want that. So one way out of this can be knight b to d2 to defend this knight, then giving the queen the freedom to move around the cabin, and she can get on with her day, right, without worrying about bishop takes knight, because we've now got another defender. So that's one idea. So I decide to kick the bishop. So I'm thinking, look, we're playing a crazy or a dumbass here. Okay, so bishop retreats to h5, and I think, fuck it, g4, right? In for a penny, in for a pound, because what's going to happen here, right? Is the bishop going back to g6? I doubt it. I doubt it, because if the bishop goes back to g6, you've got bishop takes, bishop h takes, he's got then double isos on the g file. Yes, as comp, maybe his rook's okay, but it's not like my pawns are terribly bad here either. So anyway, he's not going to do that. So he drops the bishop back to f7. And how many moves has this damn bishop taken? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. The man is utterly mad. You're playing a lunatic. That's the problem. He's a brilliant lunatic. You don't know which way he'll jump. Like, his game is impossible to analyse. You can't dissect him, predict him, which of course means he's not a lunatic at all. Name that reference. Miko. Bet you can't. Okay, now I decide to move a develop piece for a second time because the crazy's rubbing off on me. But I'm thinking, look, it's a healthy square in the middle of the board, and hands up who hasn't got an F-pawn. You, Mr. Blackie, right? I'm now attacking this bishop, and if I take, he's going to be taken back with a king, and then it's goodbye castling rights. So I think that's a justifiable second move of a knight. We could analyse it in a minute. I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we don't. He moves the bishop another time. Check this out. He's made from move 4 to move 8. Check this out. He moves the bishop once. Next move, next move, next move, next move. He's moved that stupid bishop 5 times in his first 8 moves. There should be a special dumbass award for that kind of thing. Anyway, so what do we do here? Well, am I going to castle short? Do you know what? It's not out of the question. But I probably want to think about developing these other minors, because you're not going to win a game with a knight in the centre and no one else attacking. So what do we want to do? Bring this guy here. He could come here. He could come here. He could even go there and be a tall pawn. Or we could just bring the knight out. Oop. So I decide to do none of those things and instead push f4. And you know, that's very reasonable, because look, I'm threatening like f5 and he has to move his stupid bishop again. You know? Sometimes the way to meet dumbassery is to up the stakes with even more dumbassery. And now we have g6 from black. He wants to de-encouragize this move. Does it de-encouragize it? Does it? Heck. Okay? We have takes, and now you know what you've got to do again. You've got to move the stupid bishop again. And where's he put it? In the stable where the knight came from. Seriously. What's this? What's he done? That? This is insane. Anyway, so now I develop my bishop. And look at the difference in development here. Okay. White's pawns are a bit shocking on the king side. On the other hand, the queen side of the board is looking quite respectable, right? All we need to do is develop the knight, develop the queen. Knight could even come there. Long castle. And all good. What we want to do also is prevent black from long castling himself, because there ain't no way that king's going that way now. Because just nothing left of that side of the board. Okay, so we have queen d6, and this to me would be announcing that maybe he's got fantasies about castling long, this guy. Okay, so knight c3. Very, very normal. Knight c3. We have knight c6 from black. Now, so what's going on here? Let me figure this out. Because I played this in the early hours of the morning. I've been awake since 3 o'clock. We could trade. Okay, so I do now knight b5, hitting the queen and hitting the c-pawn, obviously, which comes with the threat of that. So now I do appreciate that there is a check here. I notice that there is a check. I can block it with the knight. I can also block it with c3, which drops this pawn, right? So queen b4 check comes with a comes with a fork on the pawn, and that is exactly the move that he plays, right? But notice that my knight is defended here. I have c3 if I want to prompt the queen to capture the pawn, which she does not do. Black instead decides to retreat the queen to defend c7, which is probably a fair move. Now I've got my eyes set, I think, on queen h5 check, which if your opponent is a real dumbass and moves his f-pawn without taking proper protective measures, now he has knight on f6, so our job here is to remove the knight, okay, because the knight's defending that. Our knight's defending this, covering that and that. That, you know, it's a nice knight in the middle of the board. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, but I can remove this knight at will at this point in the game. Now, if he could decide to retreat his knight somewhere else, but that doesn't do anything to stop queen h5 check. So maybe even like here for black, he should have been thinking about a move like h5, but I wipe out the knight now. Here he goes, wiping out the knight. I've also got this as well, right, which trashes the queenside pawns if I want to. He takes back with the pawn. He takes that back almost instantly, less than 3 seconds, right? Fool's got 6 minutes left on his clock. Queen h5 check, whack, right? And guess what he does now? Guess what he does now? He blocks with the bishop, right? And I take it, defended by the knight, and he can resign anyway because it's mate in 1 after this. So, but he abandons the game at that point because he's a toe rogue, and that's it. And that's all there is to say about this. Proper dumb-ass opening. I haven't analysed it. Let me analyse it now. And I'm going to have to resize the board because I've got this all set up for shorts and stuff like that, so I do apologise. Okay, so I'm going to make... Oh, dear. Right, anyway, so 85.5 for me and 2,050. I thank you. And 950, apparently the guy made no blunders at all. But 4 mistakes is enough to give him a 950 insult of a guess the ELO. And 63.1. I don't know. But I'll tell you what. Look, we were never worse at all at any point in that game. If you're going to play dumbass openings like that, then you get what's coming to you. And, you know, obviously I'm kidding about the move f5 because it's like my entire repertoire for black is built around the move f5. But you play it at the right time. So if you want to know how and when to use f5 to obliterate your opponent, then get the stupid course. Because it's only $29 for until the end of February, at which point it goes back up to $59, and it's still good value at $59 with over 4 hours of videos and all the studies that you need to learn all the lines. And we're talking about how many openings? Let's count them. Against the Italian, you've got the Russo. Against the Spanish, you've got the Yanish. Okay. Against the Scotch, you've got the Kruger anti-Scotch with f5 against that. Against the Ponziani, we've got the Ponziani counter gambit. And against the Bishop's opening with 2 bishop c4, you've got the Calabrese counter gambit. And so that's like 5 main ones right there. And then you've got, against the Vienna, we've got the Kruger anti-Vienna as well. What else have I forgotten? And then there's just like a bunch of sidelines as well. So literally anything else apart from... Oh, yeah, we've added the King's Gambit as well. You can play it against the King's Gambit. But like in the Vienna, it's the same approach. You play knight to c6 first and then bang f5 on move 3. So it's fantastic. And then we've got all the change, like literally all the dross. And the move f5 is just devastating against now pretty much anything that white throws at you. So this is for e4, e5 players. Get the Kruger repertoire course. It's, well, I have a lot of fun doing playing with the Kruger repertoire. I think you will as well. If you enjoy decimating your opponents, making them cry, and if you enjoy open, tactical, sharp, double-edged positions, this is made for you. So get it while you can with the code NIGHTMARE, all in caps, to get $30 off. Instead of $59, it's $29. But the clock is ticking, guys. The clock is ticking. Let me show you where you go. chessbootcamp.club. Right. You type in chessbootcamp.club, you'll get to here, and you get the Freddy Krueger repertoire. Ends March 1st. Okay, you've got 4 days, 12 hours. You put in the code NIGHTMARE, right? You click on this, you put in your payment or whatever, but you put NIGHTMARE in there, right, to get $30 off, and you put all your junk in there, and that's it. And you can get it, and it supports the channel, it supports me, and I will be very, very grateful. So thank you for your support. I love you loads. Have a great day.